Hey guys, so I just mowed last night and I mulched the grass clippings with some of the younger mulberries that I planted, as well as the papaya. But I wanted to talk a little bit about something that you see in natural forest and healthy environments, but can be mimicked in very small scale backyard gardens, raised beds, anywhere that you're growing in soil. In healthy environments, there's a natural seed bank that is stored within the soil, and seeds from all different types of plants can remain dormant in soil for quite some time, sometimes 100 years. Like, some seeds can remain dormant for a very long time until the exact conditions that they need to sprout. And this can be good in your natural gardens, because on a very simple example, some of the cherry tomatoes that get a little past ripe, will start to rot or whatever, I'll actually plant those, just dig a little hole and plant them all over. And what that'll encourage is, for when the conditions are ripe, those tomato seeds will germinate at varying times, and that'll help me keep producing food for myself. But also, a really good example is these like wildflower seeds, wildflower plants. They just reseed themselves continuously. What else am I growing that reseeds itself? Lots of the different herbaceous plants, like the Bidens, which is a wildflower, and it's super useful. I feed my rabbit that a lot, but it also helps with pollination and keeping soil moisture retention, keeping the soil covered, etc. But you have very small scale wildflowers and herbaceous plants that reseed, and then you have your tree species and your shrub species. And in a food forest environment, you can be really intentional with that and replant the seeds yourself. Like, as soon as this loquat tree starts producing, I'll be replanting the seeds, and then from the loquat trees that I forage the fruit, I have lots of seedlings that I'll be planting out. But yeah, it's good to encourage a natural seed bank within your soil. Some of that, like I said, can be really intentional, and other times it's going to happen on its own. A good example of that is this mint that has grown everywhere, and in small spaces, maybe not such a great idea if you don't want it. But in food forest systems, this is encouraged because there's lots of benefits of mint in terms of for humans as well as animals, but it's also a really good ground cover. And the mint just consistently reseeds itself. This Tithonia rotundifolia also reseeds itself very readily and pops up all over, which is what I'd like. This cranberry hibiscus reseeds itself. This blue butterfly pea also reseeds itself. And another reason that this can really benefit you and your environment is, for example, if you have, you know, say I wanted to go on vacation or spend some time away from this environment, I can safely know that things will continuously pop up on their own. And it kind of guarantees you that succession of plants consistently coming in and growing and just continuing that life cycle of different species in your food forest. Let me think. There's another example. Over a year ago, I planted acorns from my local oaks everywhere, and I've got little oak seedlings popping up all over the place, and they will naturally select themselves for the healthiest ones will survive without any attention. But I can also, if I choose to, be intentional and I could pot these up. I could transplant them to other places. I could just select one myself and mulch it, protect it. But for these native oaks, I'll just allow them to naturally select themselves. But also, in the majority of environments, you'll have native seeds that if you do absolutely nothing and you don't mow, you don't do anything, you'll have seeds that pop up. For example, this tree right here is I think it's commonly called China berry, or the golden rain tree. It pops up all over and is considered invasive, but you can utilize this. This isn't something I planted, it's just something that grows. A lot of people have these trees as ornamental trees. They are very beautiful, and the seeds really disperse well with heavy winds. And usually during our hurricane season, I'll actually see the seeds flying all around. But a larger example of this tree is this tree right here that I just let come up, and I'll let it get a little larger. It's helping to provide a little bit of shade, and I'll be chopping that down and it'll provide some mulch. But side note, I went ahead and planted the strawberry tree right here. Took me all day yesterday to figure out the best place for it, but it should do well here in this spot because it is extremely cold sensitive, and this wall retains a lot of heat during the day and it gets sun for the majority of the day. So during our cold season, when I have to protect this tree, it'll be easier because it'll already have one side protection that'll retain some heat. I'll still have to cover it and protect it, but I'd really like to have this tree survive year after year, produce a lot of fruit, and as well as to propagate it. I've been doing a little bit of research, and the common method is actually using cuttings, and I've seen some success from people taking hardwood cuttings, planting them just in a mulched area, and they seem to do okay. I have seen some videos of people taking the seeds from the fruit and propagating them to some success. But yeah, I'm excited to continue that. Also, another side note is that here in my local area, is not illegal to burn your own trash, which that is not something I do, nor do I recommend, but my neighbor chooses to burn his trash, and there is nothing that I can do about that. It's just very unfortunate because it's right on the other side of this fence, and as I was walking around I could see all that ash floating up in there and landing on my plants, which, you know, I don't know what you could say about that. It's not good, and I don't, you know, I wish there was something I could do about that. But when you have ash that carries up in the air and then just lands on your property, it's not like this neighbor's intentionally trying to harm me or my plants. He also grows fruit trees and stuff, but it's just maybe a little ignorant to what that does when you burn plastic. It's extremely horrible for the environment as well as the local environment. There's some forever chemicals, as they say, when you burn plastics that get in the air, and it gets in your lungs, and it's just really, really bad. But it always does make me nervous when he burns trash, because it wouldn't be that hard for an ember to carry over into my yard and start a fire. But he seems to be semi-responsible, and he has a burn barrel, but still, it's just not something I'm very fond of. But yeah, other than that, just wanted to talk a little bit about the idea of saving seeds within your soil and how that can benefit you and your environment.